Welcome back. The people of the Maldives want democratic change. President Gayoom has been president for the last 28 years, and he's just starting political reform. Is it too little, too late? Juliana Ruhfus continues her report.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency President Maumoon Abdul Gayoom.
Earlier this year, the Maldives were chosen to host World Press Freedom Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a soft spot for journalism. Our press is very free. They can write about anything. They can criticize the government, condemn the government, and put forward all sorts of allegations, unfounded allegations about the government. But all our journalists are now free.
And yet, minutes before the president's speech, this was happening outside.
Last few days there were about 3 or 4 journalists, women journalists arrested, and then they are protesting because of this.
Many of the independent journalists here have been arrested at one time or another. One of them is Amina Najib.
I am the editor of Minivan Daily, which is the paper that very openly criticizes the government. And we've gone through a lot of harassment and a lot of threats and many, many difficulties.
Did you hear the speech of the president?
No, we walked out just as he came in. You know, I don't believe that he is sincere in giving press freedom to this country. And this speech we have heard over and over and over again that there's nothing new he can say. And I sincerely, truly believe that there's no sincerity in his words.
Since Minivan started 2 years ago, over half of its staff has been faced with prosecution. One of them, Fahala Saeed, is currently serving 25 years for drug dealing.
He was taken there for a police summon, a chit was brought and he went with the lawyer, and then suddenly the police said, we want to check your body, and when he said that my body can be checked in the presence of the lawyer, the police refused to give him the lawyer. He was shoved into a toilet. 6 policemen charged him from behind and produced these packets of drugs there. This is our guy.
That's President Gayoom.
That's President Gayoom, that's right, and it says it's predators of press freedom.
The poster is from Reporters Without Borders, an international press freedom watchdog. So this looks as if President Gayoom is internationally considered to be one of the presidents in the world that really represses press freedom.
Exactly, and he goes on to say on the International Press Freedom Day that he has a soft corner for journalists.
This is the issue that's out at the moment, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But so you've got World Press Freedom Day.
The paper goes this way. Oh, it's Abbas's release.
Do you ever carry any features, any articles that are critical of the MDP?
Yes, we do. We do criticize MDP in this paper also. But at the moment, this paper has I wouldn't say has no choice, but is partisan, because we support this party who is fighting for reform and who is fighting to get democracy into this country. I hope and I am very confident that MDP will be ruling this country very soon, and then it is the responsibility of this paper to keep check on MDP.
Hang on.
There are many of my colleagues spend time there.
What is there?
The jail. It's Dulidu.
The island is the jail?
Yeah. They call it Alcatraz of the Maldives. Mainly political prisoners would be there.
What did the government take offense to when you were editor?
Right now, maybe it's a warning. There's on the Attorney General's office website, they have listed myself and one of the writers who is now the current editor of Adwas as facing charges on calling an article that called the Maldives a police state. So they don't like being called a police state, but I don't think I need to speak on that subject. I think you have footage from this morning, so we'll leave it at that.
Intimidation of the press is alleged to come from the very top of the security forces. we get a rare interview with the Commissioner of Police, Adam Zahir, and ask him about a death threat sent to the dissident journalist Ahmed Musa. Musa left the country for the UK after the 2003 protests and started an anti-government website. DiveoObserver.com is banned and inaccessible in the Maldives, where Musa has become a thorn in the side of the authorities. In 2005, he received an email full of abuse. The email was traced back by the British police to your wife's email account. How can that be?
I have questioned everyone at home about this, and everyone says that we know nothing about this. So it's a mystery to me as much mystery to you. I have no answer for that. I don't know.
But you carry no responsibility for this email?
I take no responsibility for that, because I know my wife and my children will not engage in such activities.
We're trying also to understand how much has changed in the country. We witnessed that on World Press Freedom Day, your police force dispersed a very small demonstration of journalists who did nothing but hold up placards for a free press. Why did your police force tell these people to go away?
Well, the police, when there is a gathering other than that has been prescribed by law, they will always advise them not to do that, disperse and go home.
But these were, how many, 10, 12, not even more than 15 people. They didn't shout, they didn't make noise. All they did was hold up some placards, A4 pieces of paper. Was it necessary to disperse them?
Maybe not, but you see, our country is very new to all this. We are also practicing the newfound freedoms, and therefore all these things will take time. Perhaps it will come a time when we will be able to simply smile at them and go.
But you have been, on repeated occasions, you have been described to us as the most feared man in the country.
I think the newspapers and the various internet services have done their job well. If a population says that, then I would agree, but I will not accept the fact that it is a population that says it. I understand, I have always understood that Commissioner of Police, perhaps in any country, is not the most popular person.
There have been repeated calls for Zahir's ousting by the public, the opposition and even members of the government. The Attorney General has gone on record saying that he wants to remove Adam Zahir. Why is Adam Zahir still in his position?
Adam Zahir has not been accused or found guilty of any human rights abuses. He is a man of honor. He does his duty very well, properly.
Many admit there is a greater degree of freedom these days, but there seems to be a battle going on within the authorities between the old guard, people like Adam Zahir, and the more liberal ministers who set out the roadmap for reform. They call themselves the new Maldives, and Dr. Shahid, the foreign minister, is their unofficial spokesman. Do you get frustrated that the reform process isn't acknowledged enough?
I'm not surprised because those who would want reform will always want more. And I'm encouraged by the fact that there is international spotlight on the Maldives. I'm encouraged by the fact that there's a constant demand to do more. I'm encouraged by the fact that nothing we do ever seems to, kind of say that's enough, because you have to do more. We are the only country in South Asia to have emergent independence without inheriting a modern political system or a legal system. You have to develop it. So the difference now is we no longer want to perhaps mediate democratic concepts through local customs, but we're happy to embrace it fully. Now, I don't think the debate is fully over. A backlash might come, but somebody will say, no, you're going too fast, that you have to respect our local tradition.
In many ways, Dr. Shahid appears closer politically to members of the opposition than he does to some in his own party. Some suspect that President Gayoom has split his cabinet equally between the old and new guard in order to be able to wield the casting vote. You've got some very reform-minded people, but you've also got some people in government who probably think it's too early to introduce some democratic reforms. How do you decide which side you listen to?
Of course, I know the pulse of the people. I've been here for quite some time, and I feel I know what they want. And now the country is ready for a more liberal form of democracy than we used to have in the past. Because for one thing, we have now a better educational attainment than before. And there's so many young and educated people who have been abroad and who have seen how things take place abroad and the new systems of democracy and government and so forth. So the country is now ready for a new form of democracy.
But others question the amount of time it took the president, after 28 years in power, to decide the people were ready for more democracy.
The President Gayoom, the one good thing he did for this country was the literacy campaign. I think this was in the 80s, and he had a huge success, now getting a very high literacy rate. But that was the time he could have also started on the democracy thing. That was the time when he could have had people read and learn and get to know.
Many believe that the government's roadmap to reform was launched in order to avoid revolution. And many feel that no real reforms have been made as yet.
Come next election, and if there is no constitution, new constitution, we are in for a good fight.
You're threatening the government
no,
in some way.
I'm not threatening the government. Well, you know, this is always what happens to me. You know, I've been branded as a terrorist many times because of observing what might happen.
As a political journalist, do you think the opposition has a clear agenda? Do they have a party manifesto that they're explaining to the people?
If you ask them, or as I have asked them on occasions, always get the answer that if we are going to go out public, if we go out public with these things, then Gayoom is going to do it. He's going to steal it and do it and take credit for it. It's not political maturity. Everyone trying to take credit for what is happening while the people are really waiting for change. Change is not happening because the government wants credit for constitution change, opposition wants credit for constitution change, and there is no compromise or middle ground coming out.